Swimming.
Swimming. A little bit of both. That works. That works.
That's what was back there.
Oh, to speak.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Good. Maybe she's not going to speak.
Well, that's good. She's not allowed to. She didn't say that.
No, they can't. They can. Wow, that place. I feel like I'm
I meant to have that down, but they took it back up. So.
I feel like I'm being investigated and interrogated. Just
We should do it. Yeah. Sure. Oh, yeah.
It did this last time.
Well, we just keep trying.
Steve, oh, yeah. Yeah, very good. Seems to be a nice guy.
You think we should be good?
We gotta rectify that sooner rather than later. Not on his own. Yeah.
There you go.
very, thank you very much. Thank you. That's very nice. We'll call to order the Town of Lake Lure Town Council regular meeting Tuesday, December 14th at 5 p.m. If you will please stand for the invocation.
May we pray? Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to meet together as a community and for everyone who's taken time to be here. Thank you for the beauty of your creation and ask for your blessings on our town and the new council. Grant them discernment and guide and preserve our town for future generations. Pray that you will grant us wisdom to make proper balance between individual responsibilities and those decisions made collectively. Thank you for our police and firefighters and first responders. Pray that you will keep them safe, refresh their spirits, and may they always receive the respect they deserve. We pray that truth, justice, and mercy will always prevail in our town. Pray in Christ's name, amen. Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Having had an opportunity to review the agenda, are there any edits?
Olivia, did you have something to add?
If we could just add the 2022 holiday schedule to the consent agenda.
Okay.
Item F.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda with the addition of the 2022 holiday schedule.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion, Madam Mayor.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Then that consent agenda is approved as edited. Thank you all for being here. It is delightful to see everyone in person. It's good for us all to be back together. We enjoyed the opportunity that we had for Zoom, which was great. We had those constraints for COVID, but there's nothing as good as seeing everyone here and being able to look at everyone face to face. We appreciate your interest and your participation, and we thank you for coming. This is an important meeting. It's a time for saying thank you and goodbye to people who have brought so much to the town over the number of years that they have served in so many different ways. And it is a time to look forward with our new commissioners and look forward to the things that we have to do in the future. And there's that transition, and there's never a break. Fortunately, it's something that continues on, and we profit from what has done, and we look forward to what's going to be done in the new year. So very good time for us all to be together, and we appreciate your being here with us. I think that we will move now to the town manager's communications.
Yeah, well, thank you all for coming out tonight, and first of all, I want to thank staff for supporting me this during my time as interim manager. I think it's gone well so far. Hopefully they do too. Just a few things to announce. The Manhole Rehabilitation project has begun and is on schedule. The ER and EID has been formally approved, and the sewer replacement can move into the design build phase now. Schnabel has began work for the conceptual design of the dam rehabilitation project. And then our communication specialist, Laura, has continued to work with North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality and FEMA, and she should hear back on some of the latest FEMA grants during January. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to the council liaison reports and comments. We'll begin with Commissioner Kilby.
Lake Advisory Board met last week ago, yesterday, on Monday. First meeting in person for a little while. Very good meeting. Dean had presentations on the commercial boat model and different things, reports that he made. That all seems to be going well. We have plenty of boat permits, right, Dean? So that's a good thing. One big concern that the LAB is working on and with is, has been working for some time, is horsepower concerns on the lake for the boats. And every time that they think they've got a handle on it, somebody develops some new go-to-the-moon boat that kind of wipes out what's already been done, which is what's kind of going on now. So that's still being studied, and there's some proposals that will be presented to ensure that we keep our lake safe. That is the main concern, safety on the lake. And so that's something that the LAB is working hard on. ABC has not met since the last ABC board's not met since the last meeting we had. We do have a new manager at the ABC store. He's a person who has worked here in the past at the store, has been an assistant manager at another store, and he is back now here as the Lake Lure ABC store manager. Been some pretty rough times there at the ABC store for a number of months. So they feel good about that being corrected and things getting back to a good point at the ABC store. The ABC store is no different than any other retail business. I was in an ABC store last week in Charleston, South Carolina, looking for something, and they said, look, we've got shortages that we deal with every day, so that's not different than our ABC store here. So things are on the up and up and looking good at the ABC store, and that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Commissioner DiOrio.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can you hear me okay? Here we go. So Utility Advisory Board met this month, and they covered 3 topics. The first one was a review, which is coming up for new business, item E, which is the cell tower ground lease agreement. And we'll give you the details when we go into new business, but they agreed with everything. They thought it was a good deal, so UAB had a chance to review that, and they endorse that particular item. Second thing is the new business item G coming up, which is selection of design build services. the design-build agent, Ruby Collins. They took a look at that whole framework. They agree with it, and there are ongoing discussions within the UAB of how to provide city oversight of the design-build method as we go forward. So they'll come up with a framework of how they're going to engage with design-build as they go forward, and I think that would be good for the town, because they'll represent the voice of the town to be injected into the design-build system, which I think is important. The third thing that they talked about, and it was just an item that they want to participate in. So coming up in January, we're trying to organize kind of a joint session with Labella and Schnabel concerning how to proceed, what new task orders that we're going to go after to start spending the monies allocated by the state of North Carolina in the budget. And so with the great news, again, and you may be hearing this for the first time, but in the North Carolina state budget, due to hard work from many people, we have appropriations directed specifically to the town of Lake Lure, about $16.5 million for a new dam progressing down that road, and $8 million in addition to the $12.5 million loan that we have for the sewer system. But the state hasn't figured out how they're actually going to get that to us yet, what the oversight agency, what process they're going to use. The Utility Advisory Board would like to take a look at that, and they may have a role in that, and that's all going to culminate in early January when we start to decide what we're going to do with that money. So they'll be a part of that process as well. And the next meeting will be early January, and that concludes my report, Mayor.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Commissioner Ward?
Well, there was no business to come before the Zoning and Planning Board this month, so there's nothing to report.
Okay. Commissioner Bryant?
All right, thank you very much. Yes, thank you. And Lake Structures
Lake Structures,
Appeals
yes.
and BOA. We'll do that one first. That one's a quick, easy one. LSAB BOA, we met and we had a lengthy discussion about lake structure height variance request that was at 2323 Buffalo Shoals Road. That was ultimately approved, and it was a really nice and robust discussion. And thank you to Mr. Williams for his time with that, as well as we went through some of those items. So, and we'll see what comes up in our next meeting with that. So, Parks and Rec had a very robust meeting also, and we have had a lot of discussion about many items, and one that's going to be on the new business tonight with the green space name and signage request for the golf course. And that we'll be going through that during new business tonight. The golf course will be closing as of December 31st, 2021, and there is a green space plan that is in the works right now with Dean and Dana. And there is also a recommendation, and the board approved it for Dan Bragdon to donate the 9-hole disc golf course items that he has, the baskets for disc golf that we may be able to incorporate with this green space land plan as part of that. So the board did make a recommendation for the seats that are in rotation for the seats on our board for Robin Worcester, Daniel Bragdon, and then Mark Hook as an alternate to be seated when we get to seating folks for our new board presentation. So our board would also like to make a request for a $750 allocation for signage at Morse Park. Similar to the Flowering Bridge, where they have signage for flowers and such and trees, they'd like to do the same in Morse Park Meadows area. So we'll be getting into that after the first of the year. I believe will be the most appropriate time for that. So, yep. And that's where we're at right now. Mm-hmm. Next meeting will be early January.
Well, thanks to all the council liaisons. I'm such a huge proponent of our advisory boards. It's an opportunity for us to really tap all the expertise that we have in the community, and there's so many hours of work that people volunteer, and we appreciate the job that our council liaisons do in bringing back information to the council. So thank you all, because I know so many of you are on those boards, and it's very, very important. So thank you for that. We're going to move on to our presentations now, and we are having a presentation from our auditor, our financial auditor, and we welcome you here. If you could just state your name.
Sure. Let's see. Of course, this was working up until now.
That's just to mess you up.
Well, I'll introduce myself while she's looking at, my name's Erica Brown, and I'm an audit partner at Martin Stearns and Associates. And I have a presentation that'll give you a summary of the town's financial statements as of June 30, 2021. And it looks like we're up, so let me start here. See if that works. So to begin, I just wanted to thank you for allowing us to continue to serve as your auditor. I know we appreciate the relationship and we value this time to be able to present to you some financial information. We did issue an unmodified audit opinion, which in layman's terms is a clean opinion. In other terms, it means that we found no material misstatements that led us to believe that the financial statements would be misleading to the reader. And I'd like to thank Sam and his staff for being prepared for us and for assisting with the audit report and just being so pleasant to work with. It makes our job a lot easier. And the audit report has been submitted to the Local Government Commission and has been approved by the Local Government Commission. So this shows us a summary of the general fund for the town as of June 30, 2020 and 2021. Is an overview for those 2 years. Revenues increased about 5%, and the largest amount of this is in ad valorem taxes and permits and fees. And in upcoming slides, we're gonna look at these in a little bit more detail. Your expenditures decreased about 3%, and that was due to a decrease in debt service expenditures due to paying off installment debt in prior years. And before I get into the detail of revenues and expenditures, I wanna talk a little bit about fund balance. This is a term that I'll refer to throughout the presentation. There's multiple components of fund balance. So when I talk about available fund balance, what I mean is available fund balance is defined by the Local Government Commission, and they calculate that by taking your total fund balance less non-spendable, which is another piece of fund balance, and less the stabilization by state statute calculation. This gives you available fund balance. And I'll show you that calculation in a minute. But that is used by the Local Government Commission as a basis for comparing you to other units and comparing your fund balance percentages from year to year. So the town's available fund balance is shown here, 3.2 million in 2020 and a little over 4 million in 2021. It is used, and then you can also see your total expenditures and transfers out there. So your available fund balance for the town for 2021 is about 68%, and this increased 14% from the prior year. So I talked a little bit about the Local Government Commission and how they provide statistical information. They have started to provide more information this year and are comparing. It used to be that they would compare fund balances in towns based on population. They have changed that because they didn't feel that it was a good measure. So now it is compared with other towns that have the same amount of general fund expenditures. So the town is in the expenditure category between 1 million and 9.9 million. The average fund balance as a percentage of net expenditures for units that size is 63%. And you can see, I don't have a pointer, but in the bottom corner here, the town's percent is 68.4%. And for towns this size, the LGC has a minimum expectation of 34%. So you're right there within your peer group. So now we're going to talk a little bit about general fund revenues. So this is the big picture of your revenues. The top 3 revenues, which is your ad valorem taxes, the unrestricted intergovernmental revenues, and other revenues make up 87% of your total revenues. So ad valorem taxes, this includes taxes, penalties, and interest, as well as any discounts. And there was an increase of 19% from the prior year. This was due to the tax rate increase. And the tax collection rate is 99.13% compared to prior year of 98.73%. So that, doing great there with your tax collection rate. Unrestricted intergovernmental revenues, this is made up of your local option sales tax, utility and video franchise taxes, as well as beer and wine tax. But the majority of this is your local option sales tax. So you will see there was almost an 8% decrease in that over the prior year, and most of that is due to a decrease in sales tax and utility tax revenues. And And permits and fees. This is made up mostly of your voting permits, so there was quite a large increase there, about 54%. And that's due to an increase in the voting fees increased, I believe, from $200 to $300. And there was also an overall increase in those permits that were issued. Moving on to the expenditures. You'll see your top expenditures here in the top three, which is your, they're all pretty close there, but public safety, culture and rec, and general government make up 75% of those total expenditures. So your general government, this includes governing body, administration, and central services. The expenses increased about 27%, and that was expected. That was due to the town hiring additional staff and consultants. Public safety, which includes police, fire, and EMS, there was almost a 10% increase there, and that was mainly due to an increase in operating and capital outlay expenditures. And your culture and rec, which includes community development, parks, beach, marina, golf course, and community center expenditures, they increased almost 10%, and that was due mainly to adding new positions. So up until now, I've focused on your general fund, which is your main operating fund. I'm gonna talk a little bit about some reserve funds you have and then look at your enterprise funds. So the town has 3 reserve funds: the silt removal fund, the bridge preservation fund, and the capital reserve fund. Both the silt removal fund and the bridge preservation fund had no activity in fiscal year 2021, so there was no change there. And the capital reserve fund, which has the $650,000 balance, there was an increase there just due to transferring more money into that fund than was transferred out in the current year. And then to talk a little bit about your electric fund. The electric fund decreased in charges for services, $383,000. And this we are aware of, and it's due to the generator being down in fiscal year 21 and repaired and no power and everything that was going on there. So you do see a large decrease there. Now, your unrestricted net position, which is the negative $342,000, that actually increased over the prior year of $130,000. The reason for that is your revenues decreased, but your expenditures decreased more than your revenues in the current year. And I spoke earlier about the Local Government Commission and some benchmarks that they provide, and this is one that they provide that they look at to monitor municipalities, and this is the quick ratio. It's calculated by dividing your current assets by your current liabilities. If there's a quick ratio of less than 1, this concerns the Local Government Commission, and they like to discuss why and what the plans are to change this. So the town's, due to the generator issues, you can see that the town's quick ratio is less than 1. Because of this, and because of a new law and procedures at the Local Government Commission, and Sam and I have discussed this, and he is aware, we have to, you'll have to write a letter to the Local Government Commission explaining to them why that is less than 1 and what's going on, which is easily done because we know the reason for that, and we're working towards changing that. So the water and sewer fund, another one of your enterprise funds, you had an increase in charges for services of 35%, and this was due to an increase in water and sewer rates as well as increase in usage. And the unrestricted net position here of the increased $660,000, and this was due to overall increase in that fund. And then the quick ratio here that I talked about with the electric fund, this is your quick ratio for the water and sewer fund over the past 3 years. Again, the LGC is concerned if it's less than 1, and that's not the situation here, so. And again, something new that we haven't presented or talked about before, which is due to a new law, is that we're now required to talk about any negative performance indicators and talk about any findings or anything that was found during the audit. So we did have 2 findings this year, which is in your audit report. The first one relates to proper segregation of duties, and that's typical for small towns. But in order to remedy this, the town has hired more positions and is contracting with a third party to help to remedy that. And then the second one is related to a prior period adjustment. This was due to an asset that was sold in the prior year and did not come off of the town's records. So that has been corrected. Both of those will have to be addressed in the letter to the local government commission as well. So some positive, to move on to some positive performance indicators. We don't like to harp on the negative, but those are the things that we have to talk about. Timely audit submission, your audit was submitted timely, and the town, like we talked about before, has a stable tax valuation and a stable collection rate. And the water and sewer operating net income has increased. If you have operating net income that is a negative, the local government commission is concerned that you can't operate in the positive, and therefore you can't continue in the long term, and that's not the situation here. And of course, we talked about the electric fund has the quick ratio less than 1, whereas your water and sewer does not. So I've provided a lot of information, a lot of numbers. I'm here to answer any questions you have, but before we go there, I wanted to guide you to look at the management discussion and analysis, which is in the front part of the audit report. It's a couple of pages long, but it gives a great summary of what's going on in the town in the current year and where you're looking to the future in the upcoming budget.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that so much. Are there any questions? Anyone on the council have any questions? Well, thank you so very much, and we appreciate, as always, your working with us, and we certainly thank Sam and Stephen and everyone who's helped to prepare all these things. We have so much confidence in them. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Do you want me to turn this off or anything?
I think it's going back to Laura.
Go ahead, Steve. Let's go.
Well, it's good to know that we're in good hands financially, so we're very thankful for the leadership we have in that department. And of course, we always look forward to making whatever recommendations, acting on whatever recommendations that are made, but we know we're in very good hands. We'll move on then to what Olivia has appropriately entitled on the agenda, Changing of the Guards. As I said when we just began this, it is a day of sadness in some sense because people are leaving, but we appreciate so much everything that they have brought over the past number of years to the town of Lake Lure and contributed. And I know they're going to be happy to have something else to do on the second Tuesday of every month except sitting up here. But we know they'll still be certainly very valuable members of our community and always be available for us. True. Always be available to us when we need to look for them for information for things that's happened. That's part of the importance of Lake Lure is we have so many people we can draw on who've lived here for so long and know what's happened before, and that helps us guide us as we move forward. We would like to, and it's a small measure of what their value is, but we would like to present these two plaques to Commissioner Moore, John W. Moore. Mind standing up. Didn't know it was W. What is that for?
Wilma. No, Walter.
Walter, all right. John Walter Moore, I like that better. In recognition of dedicated public service and outstanding contribution as a commissioner in the town of Lake Lure from 2009 to 2021. That is a long time. Thank you so
Thank you.
much, John.
I'd just like to say that I've enjoyed serving the town over these last 12 years, and it doesn't seem like that long on one hand, but on the other hand, this young man right here with the red pants and the white shirt was 6 years old when I was originally sworn in up here. So I'm gonna embarrass him a little bit. He's a senior at Camden Military Academy, the number 2 in command down there. And, he's done it very well, and we're so proud of him. Thank you.
So, Commissioner Kilby, John Kilby, what's your middle name?
Edwin.
John Edwin Kilby, since we're doing middle names here, in recognition of dedicated public service and outstanding contribution as Commissioner, Town of Lake Lure, 2017 through 2021. Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you. It's been a privilege, having been a full-time resident of this community for the past 33 years. It's a great place, and I know it's going to continue to be a great place. A lot of challenges. This new folks coming in got a lot of challenges. We hope the ship will keep going down the lake in the right direction we want it to go. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, since we now have 2 empty spots up here, 2 empty chairs to fill, we will move on to the oaths of office, which Olivia will be administering, and we will start with the same person sitting in the chair last time and this time. The oath for the mayor.
Carol C. Pritchett, solemnly and sincerely swear that you will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States, that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, that you will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution and laws of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of your knowledge and ability, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of your office as mayor. So help you God.
I will.
And autograph there.
We are so fortunate to have Olivia here now playing dual roles, as lots of people do, but she's doing a remarkable job, I can tell you, doing that. We will now begin with the oath of office for Commissioner Scott Doster. If you'll come forward. You can. Do you want to do it out there or back here? Why don't you do it out? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you, Scott Doster, solemnly and sincerely swear that you will support the Constitution and laws of the United States, that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, that you will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution and laws of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of your knowledge and ability, and that you will you'll faithfully discharge the duties of your office as commissioner, so help you God.
I do.
Alright.
And last but not least, if Mr. Jim Proctor will come forward to be sworn in as commissioner.
solemnly and sincerely swear that you will support the Constitution and laws of the United States, that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, that you will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution and laws of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of your knowledge and ability, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of your office as Commissioner, so help you God.
Thank you, Olivia, and we have successfully completed our changing of the guards, as Olivia termed it. And we are so delighted, and we thought we would take a 15-minute recess now so that everyone would have an opportunity to enjoy the refreshments that Laura always puts out, which are so nice, and to just talk with the people, the commissioners who are leaving their post, and the new commissioners. So please enjoy yourselves.
She did a terrible job. I mean, that's,
It's just that
no, I don't even understand. So why do we have assets in 19 and no assets in 20? I don't understand.
thank Laura Creegee for providing all these wonderful refreshments. We should all be thankful that we know her and she loves us enough to do all she does for us. So we thank you for that. We will now resume with our public comment. And I have 4 people who have actually signed up. And if you will, please come to the podium and state your name and your address. And then you have 3 minutes to wax eloquently to us on whatever topic you wish. So I believe the first one that we have is Ronnie Wood. Well, I shouldn't have done that. We changed it to 3 because that's what this does.
Good afternoon. I'm Ronnie Wood. I live at 355 Shady Grove here in Lake Lure. The town has changed the ordinance years ago and didn't let none of the homeowners know from 2+ acres to whatever to build. And they let these people from South Carolina build a house. They brought it down the hill right up on top of me. And now they have broke about every rule they are to break. Brought in a camper. The town finally had to pull the camper out because they were staying in the camper. And then they brought a golf cart riding up and down the road. I got Bailey, Lake Lure Police Department, he took care of that. Now they stuck a light up that's got like 4 big bulbs, 500-watt bulbs. And when you come off of Luther Burbank on the Shady Grove, it's private, it will blind you. They finally came back into town. They put it up on a Saturday evening, turned it on, and left. Didn't even stay the night. People came, their kinfolks came. They had to turn it off so they could sleep at night. It was so bright. Now, I finally got to talk to the homeowner because I've called the town and talked to Mike Williams one time. Never could get in touch with him on Fridays, but on Monday, I finally got back in touch with him. He's supposed to do something for me. Lake Lure Police is supposed to have done some records. They seen it, supposed to have. But I've talked to him and he has changed it. 3 nights in a row, he just angled it different and it was still blinding. So Monday morning, I called him again and he just unplugged it. But the town has got to do something about these lights. I mean, they're bright. This thing you couldn't even see. And they ain't no ordinance, I doubt. Asheville, I got a friend, there's an electrician. You can't have over a 40-watt bulb in Asheville in Buncombe County. And these are like 500-watt bulbs. I'm talking bright.
That is bright.
And even my other neighbor, Edith Bond, up on the hill, she thought this day everybody was at the house, every light in the house was on. It's so bright. And it's on all night long when it was on.
Well, we thank you for bringing that to our attention, and Mike Williams is definitely the person who, you know, I don't know if you've ever met him or not, you just talked to him on the phone, well, that is he right there. He's hard to miss, sitting down, not so tall, if he stands up, you'll remember him, I guarantee you that. But definitely that is the person that, that you'll want to speak to, so I suggest what you do is, and I know he did speak with you once, is call him again and fill him in on where you are.
Well, still, the 2+ acres, it got changed. I can't figure out why they changed it, because it was fine. They didn't want houses on Washburn Hill stuck side by side is the reason they had 2+ acres.
Right.
And they let them build, and now, because people bought lots so you could get a boat on the lake. So you got people got single lots. Are they gonna start building on single lots?
You know, I don't know that. Once again, that's something that you can speak to Mike about, but we do appreciate, we do have time limit, we do appreciate your coming up and letting us know that, and I would suggest, I know you have Mike's number, that you call Mike and discuss those issues with him, and I appreciate that the police department has been helpful to you too.
And the other thing is these renters coming in, I've got
We're-
5.
Okay, you need to wrap it up because we're at the end of your 3 minutes.
5 different renters on our road. Their dogs are running loose, their campfires, they're burning them, and just leave and go inside the house, leaving fires going. And nobody's forcing it.
Okay,
So
well,
you need to look in on that.
we will, and Mike is taking notes on all of that, so thank you very much. Thank you. Our next person, Terry Coutu. She left? I think she's not here, so we'll move on. Donna Cowdrey. Oh, maybe they just thought this was just signing in. Okay, that's fine. The last person is Mike Payne. You were just signing in that you were here then. That's okay, that's perfectly all right. That is perfectly all right. We are delighted to know that you're here, and we have a record of it. Well, is there anyone else who would like to, is not signed in? Yes, Deborah? You need to come up here. And just please state your name and your address, so, because it's for the record.
My name is Deborah Gardner. I'm at 137 Firefly Cove. My question is, if I would like for you to explain the ambulance service that's available to us in Lake Lure, because there was a whole campaign going on in Facebook about the fact that we no longer have ambulance service on the weekend. And I just like a better understanding and explanation about what type of services that are available to us 24/7.
Dustin's here. And that is a question that is on everybody's mind. We know that there have been a lot of changes in our ambulance covers. Unfortunately, Dustin is not here with us tonight, but this is something that we are going to be talking about in the coming month, and we're going to be communicating with everyone how we are handling that. I'm sorry I can't give you more information than that tonight, Deborah, but that's kind of where we are right now. There have been a lot of changes, as everybody knows, in ambulance coverage.
Should we as residents feel comfortable that if, God forbid, we need some support
the-
services on the
you
weekend?
absolutely, the ambulance will come.
Right.
Yes.
Our ambulance will come, or one from Asheville or far
An
away?
ambulance will come.
Okay, an ambulance.
An
A half an
ambulance.
hour later, an ambulance might come. Okay,
They will get there as quickly as they can. To say that we have a lot of ground to cover here, our ambulances do, and they will get there as quickly as they can. I mean, I'm not
Okay.
gonna underestimate the time that it will take them to get there, but an ambulance will come. We are working on to get it there as quickly as we can.
okay, thank
And
you.
we're gonna be discussing this very much in the first quarter. Thank you, Deborah. Is there anyone else who wants to make a comment? Then that will conclude our public comment section, and we will move to the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as edited?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as posted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye?
Yes.
Aye.
Then the consent agenda passes unanimously as posted. We'll move on to new business. The first item on the new business. First thing Jim did was try to steal my agenda. So, good move on your first 10 minutes on the council. Our first issue is adoption of the 2022 Town Council meeting schedule. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion, we adopt the 2022 schedule as written.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And unanimously, we have passed the adoption of the 2022 Town Council meeting schedule. The next item of new business is assigning council liaisons. Do I hear a motion?
Madam Mayor, I would like to make a motion, and I think I've talked to most commissioners individually, but if I've missed something, I'm sure they'll correct me. I would like to make a motion that the following people are liaisons for the Board of Adjustment Lake Structures Appeals Board, David Diorio; Park and Rec Committee, Patrick Bryant; Utility Board, Utility Advisory Board, Scott Doster; Zoning and Planning Board, Scott Doster; ABC Board, me; and the Lake Advisory Board, David Diorio.
Do I hear a second?
I will second this, Madam Mayor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Then unanimously, we have assigned the new council liaisons, and we appreciate their service very much. The next issue, item on the agenda is the advisory board terms. You wanna take that?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I move that we extend all current assigned personnel to our advisory boards for an additional 2 months. In that period, the town council will review the assignments for each one of those boards and any new members that would come up, and it gives a chance for the new council to review all of that. So existing board members, an extension of 2 months.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Then the advisory board terms are unanimously passed to be extended by 2 months. The next item on the agenda is appointing a mayor pro tem, as John Moore was the mayor pro tem.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Commissioner David Diorio as Mayor Pro Tem.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Then David Diorio is appointed as our new mayor pro tem. We'll move on now to the cell tower ground lease agreement with Tillman Infrastructure. David, I think we had that.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna defer to Mike.
Oh, there he is.
There he is. And he'll give us, present the staff recommendation.
I'm actually really excited to be able to talk about the, the cell tower tonight, because after being here for almost 12 months now and having to go outside to the playground to make a cell phone call, I'm looking forward to be able to have a signal. And AT&T has said that we will have 4 to 5 bars from this side of Bat Cave on up the main channel to the dam and spreading out from there. So I'm excited with that. And we
I
are.
share your excitement.
We're very. We are working with AT&T and a contractor that they're using to build a tower, and we have negotiated a lease with them, feel good about it, and so I'd like to present that to you. We're looking at a 25-year lease. It's made up of 5 5-year terms, and it would start out with a 15, they're gonna pay us to put a tower here, so which is a pretty good deal there, I think. But it's gonna be a $1,500 a month lease, and then after 5 years, it'll escalate by 10% for that next 5 years, and go up 10% every 5 years for the 25-year term. So we have a lease, an option and lease agreement that I presented to the board. and we're hoping to get approval to accept that.
All right. Are there any questions for Mike?
Mike, I did have, if I may, I do have, with the property maintenance and access, I know that like with the Boys Camp Road, master plan, you know, there's primitive camping, possible, shelter structure, restrooms, that sort of thing. Has there been any talk about, the service road that AT&T will use for access to get to the other end yet? or
Yeah,
no?
that's on the master plan that's been
Okay.
approved, and it's using the same drive that's already there.
Okay,
If you're coming up, on Boys Camp to the property on the right, it's that first entrance.
the first one, okay.
And you just go straight on down there, to the site, which
Okay.
is staked out right now.
That's what I thought, I just want to make sure I was reading it correctly, so, okay.
Mike, do you have the updated motion? Thank you. I just lost my copy. I've got it. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Mike,
Thanks,
thank
Yeah.
you. We all, everyone appreciates
So
connectivity.
I think just to let everyone know how this thing is gonna play out with the cell tower. Once the lease agreement that we have in front of us today is signed, that's the green light for Tillman to construct the tower for AT&T. And they have it in their budget to do this in 2022. So with all, you know, when the moon and the stars align correctly, we should be seeing the cell tower constructed by the end of 2022, Mike, right? And so they'll get on it right away, and it'll be up and running. And then AT&T will put their antennas on it. They'll have other companies come in, and this is all done by AT&T, with other carriers like Verizon and T-Mobile to get up there. But we're talking 12 months for this tower to go up, be functional, be ready to go, and providing us service. So that's really good news. And Madam Mayor, I have a motion. I make a motion that we approve the option and lease agreement proposed between the town and Tillman Infrastructure LLC with 5 consecutive 5-year terms, initial rent of $1,500 per month with monthly rent to increase by 10% after each 5-year term, with other final details to be worked out by legal counsel as necessary, and to authorize the mayor to sign the finalized documents.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Then recommendation passes unanimously. Thank you, Mike, so much. Thank you for finding that. We'll make sure that goes in the
Yep.
minutes. We will move on then to the next item, which is TDA Appropriation Approval. Who's gonna have that up? Does anyone, Dean, do you want to speak to that? Or Dana, excuse me. So many D people here. Dana, I think to be in the Parks and Rec, your name has to start with a D.
I'm not that tall. As you know, the TDA works every year to try to provide some funding to the towns for the use of projects. This year, we had requested to use that funding for 2 particular projects, the Morse Park Overlook and the Lake Lure Town Walkway. And on top of that, it has been brought to our attention that $100,000 of that money had already been earmarked for revenue. And so we are requesting a budget amendment in that amount for $93,525 to complete those projects. I'm sorry.
Could you repeat that and talk a little
Yes.
closer to the microphone?
Yes. Is that better?
Is it on?
Okay, I'm so sorry. So the TDA works to provide funding to the town every year for the use of projects. And then we had requested to use that funding this year for the use of 2 projects, the Morse Park Overlook and the Lake Lure Town Walkway. And so we had submitted that request, and then after that, we had realized that $100,000 of that funding has already been earmarked as revenue in the budget. And so we are requesting a budget amendment of $93,525 to complete those 2 projects.
Thank you for repeating that. Any questions?
Madam Mayor, if I
Dana?
could, let me just expand on that a little bit, because some folks may not even understand what the TDA is. So the Tourism Development Authority is a regional authority. It's a quasi-governmental authority When folks come here to enjoy the lake, an amount of tourism money goes to the regional authority for distribution to the community for specific projects. And the Tourism Development Authority has granted the town of Lake Lure $200,000 to improve anything we need to move forward with our overall strategy for Morse Park. And this year they've given us $200,000, and we have to have matching funds to supplement that to complete our projects, which it's in bad, some areas are in some pretty bad shape and need some repair. But it's all in an effort to move forward to getting eventually our amphitheater. And I just wanted to explain that if you didn't know what the TDA was. And so this appropriation are those matching funds for those projects for Morris Park. And Madam Mayor, I move that we appropriate $93,000, what was the total?
$93,525.
$93,525 towards the matching funds for the TDA appropriation.
Here a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Okay, our next item is selection for design build services, subaqueous sanitary sewer replacement. Back to sewer talk. That's where we always start and end up. Reese, or who's going to speak to that? Reese, we would love for you to speak to that.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me? Very well. It's good to be with you tonight. I've enjoyed spending the day with the contractor on the lake and look to do that for many more days. The project, as we've discussed, started off in January of 2019. We just received approval from the state on the recommended alternative, which is the gravity lift approach. Because of the phasing and the complexity of this construction project, we recommended that the town pursue it as a design-build contract. Then we partnered with Ruby Collins, very excited to submit that and then be a part of this in a design-build approach. And what it will enable us to do is to, as we start design, we'll also begin procurement of materials, which everyone's aware of the difficulty with materials, but then we'll also have a contractor on board so that as we're laying this out, we can have a contractor in the field as we're going through what will become a very technical, very difficult construction process. So we're very excited to be a part of it and looking forward to finally getting started. We've already started on the manhole rehabilitation, but when we start putting pipe in the ground, that will be a long day coming. So
It will be, and we appreciate Reese so much and LaBella, and this has been a long time to get where we are. We've all been talking about fixing our sewer system, and this is the beginning of it, the visible, physical beginning of it, and it'll be over a number of phases and years, but it's just good to see it actually happening,
So September 16th, 2020 was when I first submitted the proposal to the state. And its latest incarnation, it's almost 800 pages long. So it's quite a report, and I was as happy as anybody to get the email from the state
So if you'd
yesterday.
like a copy of it to read, as light bedtime reading, we'll be happy to get you one, absolutely. But Reese, it's been invaluable to us, and we thank you for that, as has Kurt. We're very fortunate to have the people that we have who are helping us wade through all these infrastructure problems. So do I hear a motion then?
Sure, Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the selection of LaBella in partnership with Ruby Collins General Contractors for the design-build services for the subaqueous sanitary sewer replacement project.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Oh, that was good. Do I have, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Then that recommendation passes unanimously. We are an agreeable bunch tonight, I can tell you. We are passing everything
change.
unanimously,
It'll change.
yes. But, you know.
Thank you
for
very
sure.
much.
Thank you very much. We will now move on to green space name and signage requests. And at last, we have Dean Gibbons coming up.
Good evening. As you know, the golf course is scheduled to close at the end of the month. There's going to be the month of January will be a month for them to be moving out and for the town taking back over the property. And there's a few items here that I wanted to get some direction from council on prior to just going in and doing this. I want to make sure that these things would be the wishes of council also, and also the addition of the leash law, amending the leash law for the walking of dogs and stuff on that property.
All right, thank you. And I think that what we are requesting here is removal of the golf course signage, addition of no golfing signs, addition of Parks, Rec, and Lake Department signage, addition of signage for green space, walking, biking, dog walking, etc., other safety directional signage as needed. Do I hear a motion then to grant the request by Parks and Recs?
Madam Mayor, I would like to make a motion to grant the request by Parks, Recreation, and Lake Department as provided in the presentation tonight.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Then that recommendation passes. That is separate from this ordinance. So we have one more item here, which is ordinance number 21-12-14, an ordinance amending Chapter 4 of the Town of Lake Lure Code of Ordinances for the purpose of adding Lake Lure green space to the inventory of locations specified under Section 4-2C, in which the town requires dogs to be properly restrained by a leash. Do I hear a motion?
If I would, Madam Mayor, I'd just like to expand on this a little bit so everyone kind of understands so it's not out of context. So basically, the golf course area becomes just like Ditmer Watts. And all the rules of Ditmer Watts are going to apply to the new green space area, including taking care of the paths and the requirement for a leash law. So it's no different than Ditmer Watts. Now people can expand into both areas. I just thought that was important for context. With that, Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 21-12, TAC 14, as amended.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Then the ordinance passes. That completes our new business. We are now going to go into closed session. There is no business after closed session, just want to let you know that, so you don't sit here and wait for us. But once again, I'd like to tell everybody how much we appreciate your coming and how much we look forward to everyone being here for the council meetings. It's so important to us as a council to be able to have the input and see the faces of people who are here, so thank you so much.
Do we need to have a motion to go into closed session?
We do. Do I hear a motion to go into closed session?
Madam Mayor, I move that we move into closed session. Here you go. I got it. Thank you, Jim. In accordance with GS 143, TAC 318, TAC 11 Alpha, TAC 3 for attorney-client privilege or legal claims, and in accordance with GS 143, 318, TAC 11 Alpha 6 for the purpose of discussing personnel matters.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
We will now be retiring to closed session.
They've already retired.
Yes, we're going to go into the conference room.
Yep.
We're going to move into the conference room. Well,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I bring it to me. I know. That's why. I mean,
Well, it sounds like I may have somebody on the line.
do you want to do that later when you like? Because I didn't.